Hey everyone, Cleo here. It is Bookmas day 21. I've been out for 2 days because the schedule was already quite busy, and then one of my kittens broke its paws, so I had to take him to the vet multiple times. And actually tomorrow, well, while this video is coming out, this kitten is getting a operation, so hopefully everything will be fine by the time that this video goes up, and I will know whether she will, well, whether everything went fine or not. But in any case, I am now filming, I'm just picking up exactly where Hailey will be in this point. So so the two videos that I missed are the Buzz books for 2018, but so you can definitely check out Hailey's video for that, and then all of the books that I read in 2018. But I definitely want to give myself until the end of December to finish some more. I'm doing a horrible job in the month of December because I'm currently taking forever to finish a book that's like 170 pages long. I'm still not halfway through. I'm really hoping after I shoot this video to make some headway into it because it's just becoming so embarrassing. But in any case, today I will be picking up with the video that is supposed to air on the 21st, and that is the anticipated sequels for 2019. Now, I will say I've got like, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books on there. Out of those 7, I own the first book of like 3 of them, and of those 3, I only read 2. So I mean, in 2019, if I want to get to these much anticipated sequels, then I will actually have to read the first books as well, which is gonna make it a very, very busy 2019. But so yeah, we're starting off with the first one. It's actually a book to which I own the first book. I have, however, not read it. I was given this book by Yasmina Edina. I will link her channel down below in a giveaway. And it is called The Bear and the Nightingale, and it's by Catherine Arden, and it's part of a trilogy, and it's the 3rd book that is coming out in January, I believe. So I won't be able to read it the moment it comes out because I still need to read 2 books in the series. But so we follow a Russian girl, and her name is Vanya, I think. No, Vazia. Okay, her name is Vazia, and we kind of follow her in this story. So it's set in Russia, and it has this very like folk-tale-y fairy tale atmosphere to it, based off of the description in any case. And we follow her as she develops some powers and has to deal with like the consequences for her family and for herself in a society in which this is not acceptable. And now I hope, yeah, that's correct. Yay! And so yeah, I don't know too much about it because I've read a couple of reviews. I've seen a couple of reviews by fellow booktubers, but they always try to keep things vague as well, so that they don't spoil anything. So, but all of the people that I've seen describe the book have been really liking it, really loving it. I have seen a couple of people saying like that they were very disappointed with it, but I feel like this is really my genre, so I don't know. I mean, of course I don't know, but I would assume that I'm more likely to like it. Also because I like a lot of the same books as those booktubers who I see liking this book like. Now that's all the likes that I could fit into a sentence, so let's move on to number 2. Number 2 that I have here on my list, let me check it. So number 2 is Return of the Thief by Megan Wallen Turner. Now, weirdly enough, I had this book on my TBR list on Goodreads, but it's been on there forever, and I was very interested in it, but I have been like, the last couple of years I didn't want to start any sort of new fantasy series because it just felt like there were too many fantasy series, and like they never seemed to get finished or anything like that. And so I told myself, okay, I don't want to start a new fantasy series and then like have the feeling that I have too many fantasy series going on, so I didn't actually start it. Now thinking about it, I don't actually have that many ongoing fantasy series at the moment. I mean, now it's changed since I started my booktube channel, but before starting booktube I think I only had Game of Thrones and the Kingkiller Chronicles left. I don't think there's really anything else that I have opened fantasy wise. So in that sense, there really was no reason for me not to start a new fantasy, so I've started a couple of new fantasies, and so I definitely want to give the thief a go. I don't know much about it, so I won't even attempt, but I know that it really sparked my interest, and I know that Reagan from Peruse Projects is a very big fan of this series, and I always respect her judgment because I think she has where fantasy is concerned, she has a very similar opinion to mine. So I'll be hopefully getting into this series. I do know that there's I don't know how many books this is, I think the 5th or something like this, so there are a lot of books that I still have to catch up on if I want to be finishing this series in 2019, so maybe I won't actually finish in 2019, but I'll definitely try and get going on this. And then the third book that I have down here, so the third book is a sequel to a book I own. I read it also, I don't know, 5 years ago or something, and that is the sequel to The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, and it's called The Testaments. Now, this was a standalone. I mean, there was no expectation for there to be a sequel. That's why there's so much time also between the publication of this one and its sequel. So when was this published actually? Yeah, so this was published in, wait, which date? There are 2 dates suddenly. Yeah, so it was published in 1996. It's been more than 20 years since the previous installment, and so there was no anticipation for this at all. So when the announcement came, I was like, what? Yeah, I have read a lot by Margaret Atwood. I did my master's thesis on a short story collection by Margaret Atwood, so I have read a big part of her works. I will say I'm not necessarily always super happy with them. I mean, I like them, but it's also not like they've been the greatest books that I've ever read. But The Handmaid's Tale is definitely an exception. It's definitely a book well worth to read. I don't necessarily think that it's for everybody, so I'm very happy that you have the TV series now bringing this story to a wide audience, making it more accessible for more people. However, I do definitely feel like if you're in any case in any way interested in the story, try and give the book a go. If you feel like after a little while that the style of the book is not yours, is not your thing, then that's just fine. I mean, I definitely feel like it's a style that not everybody will like, but I absolutely enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what she does with the sequel. I haven't watched the 2nd season of the series, but I also know that the sequel to The Handmaid's Tale is not supposed to be the story of season 2. I mean, I think the sequel is supposed to follow different characters as well, so we're not revisiting the same characters, so we're actually revisiting this world further along in the timeline, I'm guessing. So I'm super interested in that. Sadly, it is I don't know exactly when, but it's fall 2019, so it's still a long wait. But yeah, I'm very happy that it's coming there. I didn't know I wanted it, but now that I know that it's coming, I'm definitely very eager to get to it. And then, so we are on to number 4, I guess, that I have here on my list. Number four, yeah. It is a book that has been mentioned so many times this year, and that's Children of Blood and Bone. The sequel is coming out, Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. Now, I have downloaded the ebook in the Dutch language on my Kindle, but as I wanted to dedicate a month to classics, I haven't got around to it. The problem is that I'm still stuck on this one book of 170 pages that I just can't seem to finish. And maybe I should just change the plan altogether after finishing this one and go to Children of Blood and Bone, just to have a quick read to finish the year with, because I still need to finish 2 books for my Goodreads goal. But so yeah, I'll definitely check out what I'll be doing there. But in any case, I'm very much intrigued by it. I know basically nothing about it. I know it's a fantasy set in more like an African setting, and that's enough for me. I don't need to know more. That already tells me it's my favorite genre, and it's a new setting, something that hasn't been done before, or at least hasn't been widely done before. I know there are other African-inspired fantasy series. Sorry. But so I haven't at least not read them, so it would definitely be new to me as well, and it's just always so interesting to have a look at something like this, because fantasy so often is just such a Western setting. It's almost always like a medieval setting, and when I'm thinking of like fantasy stories in my head, I'm also always putting it in that setting. So I'm not saying it's easy to break out of that setting just because it's always done in that setting, but then it's so refreshing to see new settings, new ideas pop up, and so I'm definitely really looking forward to getting to this book at some point, hopefully in the near future. And then let me count, the fifth book that is on there. I was actually hoping to be able to show you the first book of this, because on Saturday I actually went to the bookshop specifically with this book in mind. I wanted to get the first installment, but they didn't have it, so now I'm still not having it. And so I'm talking about the sequel to The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, so the Dragon Republic, which is a sequel that is coming out in 2019. And so this is a Chinese-inspired fantasy, but this is a adult fantasy, and so just as I said with Children of Virtue and Vengeance, I'm just really looking forward to seeing this new, different setting, my fantasy genre in a different setting with a female lead. Yeah, I'm down for it, so I really want to get going on that one. Then the second to last one is actually pretty much the same, so these three actually all fit in the same genre, like fantasy in a new setting. And that is the sequel to, oh shit, what's the name? Shadow of the Fox, I think the name is, by Julie Kagawa, and so the sequel is called The Soul of the Sword, and this is a Japanese-inspired fantasy, also YA. So I'm probably most intrigued by The Poppy War, just because adult fantasy is more my thing than YA, because YA often has these tropes in it that I'm not necessarily a fan of, but you will never know. It's been a while since I read any YA or YA fantasy, so I might actually figure out that I totally do still love it. So yeah, these three are really so fantasies with a different setting that hopefully will spark my fantasy love again, because I keep on feeling that I'm not reading a lot of fantasies, and most of the fantasies that I'm reading I'm not very excited about. Exceptions for Brandon Sanderson, because I read the first two books in the Stormlight Archive this year, and I'm definitely down for those. And then the final one that I have on here is the third book in a series. It is sequel to The Rosie Project by Graham Simpson, and so, well, the second book here was called The Rosie Effect, and now we get The Rosie Results. Now, I didn't know going into this that there was going to be a second book. Going into the second book, I didn't know that there was even going to be a third book. I mean, maybe there was also no plan for having a third book, also possible. But so I'm not going to look for myself to see what this third book is about, actually. But so we follow in this a protagonist who's called Don Tillman, who's kind of, well, it's not explicitly said, but he is kind of like on the spectrum, and everything needs to follow a certain logic or certain rules, and so he has a very rigorous way of thinking about things. And then he meets this chaotic woman called Rosie, and so yeah, the first book is really much about the clash of his character with hers, and how the dynamics between them. And so I'm really looking forward to the third book, because I feel like the first book to me is still the best, with the second was a little bit less, but I feel like with these type of books, so it's a bit like a romance in a way, or at least the romance is central to the plot of the book, and I feel like a lot of times sequels to that are less interesting, because yeah, romantic relationship has usually been established, and then it's either about how that romantic relationship is getting stressed, or maybe a breakup or something like that, but it's always less interesting to me, it seems. And the second one in this case to me was also a little bit weaker, but it's still very good, so I'm really looking forward to the third one and seeing what they will do with it. Now, a book that I will mention, but I don't know whether it's coming out in 2019, is If, the fourth book for the Stormlight starting to sound like a pirate. If the fourth book for the Stormlight Archive is coming out in 2019, then it's definitely on the top of my most anticipated sequel list, because I still have to read the third one, but I have it now, and yeah, I will probably make it my first read of 2019, and so if the fourth book is coming out, then I will be super happy with that, because it's really been the best series I think I've read in my life, which is saying a lot. And I mean, I'm definitely putting it in front of Harry Potter. Harry Potter is a very different experience, so I will never say necessarily that, yeah, this is so much better. It's just very different, but I do think that I'm starting to prefer the Stormlight Archive. I'm just preferring that type of reads over the nostalgia of my Harry Potter reading. But in any case, so please let me know down below if you're interested in one of these sequels, and or if there are any others that are on your list that you are like actively anticipating, that you're actively counting the days down towards its release. I will be posting a video tomorrow about my favorite releases for 2019, so this is not limited to sequels. I will be mentioning some of these again, but only the ones that I'm like the most excited about, because for I don't want to be repeating myself too much. But so definitely check out that video as well, because I will be bringing up some other books like that are first in the series or standalones. But so yeah, see you guys tomorrow. Bye!